I'm Dr. Mark Rosenberg of howtostretch.com, and one of the more frequent questions I get regarding stretching is how do I loosen up my hips? And we've done a couple of videos before about stretching the iliopsoas muscle, stretching the iliotibial band, stretching the groin, stretching the back. But I want to try and tie everything together with my spine here so you can get a visual of stuff that I know and work with every day as a chiropractor and as a martial artist. One of the muscles that is the limiting factor for groin stretch are not the external muscles that you could feel here in your groin or the external muscles of the outside of your upper leg and hip, but actually a muscle called the psoas muscle, which you really can't touch, but you can stretch. The psoas muscle starts from the bodies of the front of the upper lumbar spine, goes through the pelvis and attaches to the inside of your femur, your thigh. So what happens is that muscle goes from here to here on the inside. So what happens is if somebody tries to stretch like this and they can't get their leg down, that's the limiting factor. It's the psoas muscle. When somebody tries to do this stretch here and their leg's up, it's usually the psoas muscle. When somebody's in a lot of pain and they can't stand up straight, it's the psoas muscle in spasm on the opposite side. So in other words, if there's a pinched nerve or some type of muscle pain here, the psoas muscle, very powerful, will pull this way, okay, to alleviate the pressure on this side. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit here and talk a little bit about man. We're very primitive creatures. These powerful muscles, which tighten up on us, were originally designed to do work of either gathering food, hunting, or running away or chasing dangerous animals. So what happened was, let's say you're sitting in your cave and you're eating dinner with your mate, and all of a sudden a bear or a tiger runs into the room. Your body in its position would pull away, jump up and run out of the cave, or get eaten by the bear or tiger, and then we have nothing to talk about. So the primitive wiring in our body is to tighten these muscles beyond your comprehension with your conscious mind to get away from danger. And this is hardwired into our system. Now, we don't have any animals trying to kill us now. Basically, most of us sit and work at a job, and we just wonder why our muscles are tight. Well, let's take that back. Since there's no real threats right now, animals jumping in our cave trying to kill us, you're sitting at your typewriter and you're feeling, or typewriter, computer, what am I saying? You're sitting at your computer and you're feeling some type of stress. The muscles tighten up according to the patterns that are ingrained in our nerves for thousands, millions of years. So then at night or in the morning when you go to stretch and you go like this, these muscles are tight. You said, well, I didn't play anything, I didn't do anything. Well, the reason is it was tightening because what you were doing during the day was a perceived threat. We don't have any, for the most part, we really don't have any real threats on a day-to-day basis like we did 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. Everything is perceived stress, deadlines, taxes, job stress, relationship stress. That's all nothing that would kill us, but stuff that bothers us on a day-to-day basis. So that's always sending a little bit of energy through the nerves and a little bit of energy to tightening up the muscles, and you do that over a 10, 15, 20-year period and throw in a couple of sports injuries and things like that. All of a sudden you go to stretch your hips and they're tight. So you got to start from the beginning. Whatever stretch you can do, do to its limit and hold it. When you find a stretch where there is a problem, work on it a little bit more. When I first started stretching, I noticed that one hip, my left hip, was much looser than my right one. So I used to spend about a third more time stretching that. And then what happens is, like for example, let's say you get into a stretch like this, which is a good hip stretch for loosening up the hips. This is as far as you can go. Don't be afraid to throw a book on the floor and hang out and read and breathe and relax into that muscle group. And then do the other side. It's not what I would call consciously stretching, thinking about the muscles, but if you adapt these positions as a way to sit passively while you do other things, your stretch will improve radically over time. When I sit, I rarely sit in a chair. Okay, well, at work I do, but I rarely sit. I try and sit like this, or all the other positions that I sit in. So I'm constantly rewiring my nerves to tell those muscles to let go. Then when I actually sit down and make a concerted effort to get into a stretch, by the way, that's cold. I'm not warmed up. It's wired that way. So I've lengthened the muscles. The nerves have told those muscles to keep them loose. And then you have a more consistent, more injury-free life. All right, that's all for today on today's Stretch for howtostretch.com.